Welcome to the Alpha 0.10 guide. This is Veloren, or at least that's how I will pronounce it. As far as starting zones go, it sucks. If you start in multiplayer, such as on the official server, you'll probably start on a different map, but be aware that PvP does exist and you might get ganked. Anyways, onto the guide. Follow the instructions to click the tutorial button and read the guide. It kinda helps, but mostly you just get it off your screen. Now you want to run around town and pick up all the freebies to sell. Press E when you see the question marks. From my experience, we're in the easiest reach town feed, have mostly basic gear in the merchant shop, so all you'll be doing is trading for gold and some food. To trade with the merchant, you have to run up near them and press R. Shift click to move items and control click on gold to balance the trade. With that out of the way and you have some food, it's time to deal with the most pressing matter. You have a tiny amount of backspace. Press C to get to the crafting menu and click on the bags tab. In my experience, it's been easiest to get the leather strips necessary for tiny pouches. If you're lucky, the merchant might be selling them, in which case buy as many as you can. The goal is to make at least 2 tiny leather pouches. If your luck is bad, it's time to go hunting. Murder some random small animals for their hides. Gliding down the mountain into the forest is the easiest way. Besides hunting whichever animals you can deal with, there's a bunch more stuff to pick up. Twigs, stones, red flowers, and flax. You'll also want to get a coconut, but merchants usually have those. It's okay if you die, you don't lose anything. Those little campfires are spawn points that you'll respawn at if you get near them before you die, Dark Souls style. Now that you've gotten your materials, it's time to make your tiny pouches a crafting hammer and a stone pickaxe. At this point, it's a good idea to memorize what you need to make the rest of the tools, as you'll need a sewing kit in the future as well. From here, you can go in search of the nearest cave. The first level, the cave will be filled with tin and copper. The second level with aggressive monsters should have iron and some gems. It gets harder and more rewarding the farther you go. Mine up all that ore. When you've either gotten too far or think you have enough, head back to town. /home will take you to the starting town. There's no cooldown in this patch of the game, so it might be worthwhile depending on where you want to go. I believe it also resets your respawn, so it's not always the best plan. You've probably leveled up by now. Press P to get to your skills. Here you have the general combat tree. Once you have skill points, you can put them into whichever weapons you want to use, as well as some general character-wide improvements. The way experience gains seem to work for now is that it's split between the general combat tree and whichever weapon trees you have unlocked and equipped. So even if you have the bow tree unlocked, it doesn't gain experience until you have a bow in your equipment slot. The last thing to do is craft up your gear. Find a forge and anvil, make some gear. If you know how to make a specific material, there's a materials section you can search. You can also type the name into the search bar when on the top everything category. With your first set of gear, you're ready to face a dungeon or continue further into the cave. The more stars a dungeon has, the harder it is. Most likely the only one you can handle is a no-star dungeon, and there is one near Veloren. Dungeons are a pretty good place to grind experience as well as kill the bosses for unique loot. Humanoid monsters tend to drop weapons as well, which makes it an easier way to progress weapon-wise. At this point, you already know everything you need to progress your gear to the maximum. You're ready to make whatever adventures you'd like. Set a goal and head off into the sunset. That's all for today, and I hope you have a good adventure.